I just spent $25 in 3 days building this AI agent. Imagine over a month, that would have costed me $250. Was it worth it? Hell no. And today I'm sharing the expensive mistakes that I made so you don't have to. So here's what happened. I decided to build an AI agent that would essentially monitor my stock investments. The idea was simple. It's essentially a program that would scrape my interactive broker, which is my investment stock trading platform, scrap the account watch list, filter for stocks that have significant price dips or spikes, search for relevant news explaining those movements, and then finally automatically generate and email me a summary report. The way I built this agent isn't sexy. It was pretty much through prompting and getting Klein, which is an AI code agent, to write the code for me. But there's a problem. As days went by, I kept seeing these charges adding up in my cloud billing dashboard. By the end, I had spent $25 in total for what's basically an automated stock news reporter. $25 can buy me about 6 decent meals. But you know what? Every mistake's a learning opportunity, and that's why I'm building in public and learning in public. And I'd love to share with you today my 3 key lessons from my first ever AI project. My first lesson was that I was becoming over-reliant on agentic AI developers like Klein. Don't get me wrong, Klein is amazing at what it does. In fact, it's amazing to a fault. The code it produces is clean, well documented, and it works. So as I was building out the project and I was just constantly prompting Klein and getting Klein to basically do everything for me, and literally when I said everything, it really means everything from Klein executing commands in my terminal, making changes in my code base, adding files in my directory, everything. During the entire project, there was constantly a nagging feeling in my head where I was like, hey, you need to be building out these projects yourself and you're supposed to use Klein as a companion rather than a dictator. But I just kept telling myself, hey, it's fine. I'm still learning. As long as I read what Klein gives me and understand the code is writing, then I'll be all good. But let's not fool ourselves. We learn best by actually doing it ourselves and not just reading the code. While I technically understood everything in the code, I wasn't building these neural pathways you get from actually solving problems yourself. And there's another issue. The sheer volume of code Klein generates can be overwhelming pretty quickly. Like for me personally, when the code got too complex, it became too big of a hurdle to slow down my progress just to read through every single line of code. So unless you genuinely don't care about learning to build AI applications from scratch, be careful about letting tools like Klein do all the work for you. And I feel like this is an especially tricky problem, especially in this age of AI, and AI is basically doing everything for all of us. I think it's still valuable to have some skills by yourself and be independent of AI for the sake of your future. My second lesson was that vibe coding, which is essentially building with native AI code agents, it can be very seamless, but it honestly costs a bomb, especially if you're not doing it the right way. This simple prototype of an agent cost me $25 over 3 days of building it. If this project was 3 days and I was building, let's say, 4 projects in a month, that's $25 per project. Over 4 projects, that's $100 a month. Now that's insane. I'm not sure about you, but this is insane to me. Luckily, after some research, I found a better approach. Turns out I could pay just $20 for cloud's web or desktop monthly plan and get unlimited prompts instead. A more sustainable approach is to use Klein specifically for planning the project implementation details step by step. And this is crucial because I want to utilize its ability to self-correct as a code agent. Klein excels at providing accurate implementation plan since it can reason through potential issues and edge cases, something that's especially valuable in the planning phase. And then I'll then build each step of the plan using Cloud Desktop. This way I limit the API charges from Klein by only having it do what it does best, and then I get to prompt Cloud unlimited times through the desktop app for the actual coding implementation. This hybrid approach will dramatically reduce my costs while still leveraging AI assistance. And so over 4 projects, what would have originally cost me $100 or more will now be $25. And that is a 300% cost savings. Over a year, I'm looking at saving over $1,000.
I would definitely take that any day. Finally, I realized that my $25 stock monitoring agent is actually quite simplistic. It doesn't use any memory management, RAG, or complex agent orchestration. It doesn't even maintain context for previous stock movements because all I'm doing per execution is just gathering all the news, gathering the current stock price changes, compiling them together, sending me an email. And so every execution would just be a fresh execution with no prior information. I can already imagine if I tried to implement that using Klein, it would have cost me easily $50 or even $100. And so this has led me to consider using frameworks like LangChain with Hugging Face for my next project. If I'm ever working on something like this, right, which is like a stock monitor or something that requires complex agent orchestration or using tools and connect to different APIs. And yes, I've heard about a lot of criticisms about LangChain, about Llama Index, all these kind of frameworks where people say that they're not good for customized solutions or you hit a brick wall with flexibility. But honestly, these frameworks are sufficient for what most of us need right now. The truth is that if I start selling AI applications to businesses, most of the time, if you're targeting small to medium-sized businesses, a lot of the use cases that they'll require are mostly very common use case, like for example, a document querying agent or a customer sales representative. These can easily be built by leveraging frameworks like LangChain, Llama Index, and don't need super complex agent setup for it. Instead of being fixated with learning the best and the most flexible tools, I rather focus on picking what works for me right now, for my customers, and what helps me get there the fastest. So there you have it. This is my 3 key newbie learning mistakes from my first ever LLM and AI application. And honestly, I'm quite enjoying it. I'm learning a ton just by documenting and sharing these insights. And I'm genuinely curious, do you agree or disagree with my approach? And why? Drop a comment down below with your thoughts. I'll be sure to respond to every comment, and I'd love to learn from your experiences too. If you're interested in learning more about LangChain and Llama Index, make sure to check out this video where I clearly explain the difference between both frameworks across the entire AI application development process. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.